everybody, it's Diane Glander from Coldwell Banker Spring Lake. I'm going to change it up a little bit today because in the office with me I have Wayne from Ryder Home Inspections. And if you are a landlord in New Jersey, you're going to want to stay tuned because coming in July there will be a new law regarding properties built prior to 1978, and lead-based paint inspections are going to become something you're going to have to get started with. So let me introduce you to Wayne, again from Ryder Home Inspections. Wayne, tell us a little bit about your business, please.
Thanks for having me, Diane. I am the owner and inspector of Ryder Home Inspections. We are a one-stop shop for your home inspection needs. I specialize in various inspections. The majority of my business are buyer's inspections. We also do a lot of pre-sale or pre-listing inspections.
We're going to have to talk about that another time because that's something that is super important and hardly anybody does them.
Yeah. We also provide pool and spa inspections, mold and indoor air quality inspections, along with home warranty inspections, which is another important one that people forget about when they buy a new home. So as far as drone inspections, we also do those. I always like to walk on a roof. It's the best way to inspect a roof. However, there are some scenarios where you can't walk on a roof, whether it be too steep or it's just unsafe to walk on. So we'll utilize a drone for that. I can also schedule radon testing, tank sweeps, and sewage scopes, and I can take care of all the scheduling for that upon request from the client.
What made you open your business, Wayne?
So it kind of just made sense to me. You know, I've had over 2 decades in the construction industry. So I bring a wealth of knowledge to the home inspection business from my real life experiences. There's always a need for good inspectors, and I felt there was a role there I could fill for my clients because, let's face it, they're making some of the biggest investments of their lives, and it's very important that they're well informed.
And it's really hard to find a good home inspector. I've been
Agreed.
playing from 18 years in the business myself. It's super hard. So what was it like when you first started? Was it tough? Because there's not a lot of home inspectors, but you know, maybe there are more than we know about.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been on both sides of the real estate deals. I've been a buyer and a seller, so I understand intimately what each side of the transaction takes. So it prepared me for my home inspection business. But to answer your question a little better, you know, when I first started, it was tough. You know, it's like any new business. You know, I had to build my clientele. I got a lot of really great feedback from my agents that I work with and from my clients. So this was kind of like the fuel it fueled my fire to keep the business growing and develop it to what it is today.
Yeah, it's definitely tough getting started in any industry.
Absolutely.
What would your customers say they like the most about your business?
I think there's so many things that I've gotten feedback from my clients.
Or just a memorable experience.
Yeah, well, you know,
that you want to
I'll
share.
go into. Well, my clients really like the ease of scheduling with my company. We use the most up-to-date software, most modern software. My reports are full of colored photos and information for my clients, and you know, it's really, it helps them in their journey to purchase their homes.
Sure. So how about, and I guess we're kind of going to lead right into our topic for today.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say are some of the exciting plans you have for the future, and maybe what people don't know about your business that we can get out of here
Sure.
today?
Well, in the future, I hope to, within the next few years, get into commercial inspections. That's a whole other ball of wax. I'm sure you're familiar with it. We'll do anything from 100,000 square foot warehouses to, you know, a regular commercial storefront. That's in a few years, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But as of recent, New Jersey, like you said earlier, has passed the S1147, which is the legislation that Governor Murphy signed off on last July. It goes into effect this July. So what my company has done is we've become a lead safe certified firm, and I'm a certified lead dust sampling technician. So I offer that inspection to my clients.
So let's dig a little deeper on that. Who is actually required to comply with this new legislation?
There's a few exceptions to the rule, but it's basically any property owner that has a property that they're renting out that is built before 1978. A few exceptions to that rule would be, so let's take people who are exempt from that, right? So any short-term leases of 6 months or less are exempt as long as they have no consecutive lease renewals. So it's very important to remember, especially where we are in our market over here on the Jersey Shore, rather down here.
Right. So let me just talk about that a minute then. So if you are a landlord renting this coming winter, because that's usually going to be like starting July, anything 6 months is probably going to start. If it's not an annual, in September or so for the winter, right? So now you do September to May, right? Obviously more than 6 months. Now if you want to rent that in May again,
for your summer rental,
right,
you're going to be okay because it's a less than 6 month lease, and it doesn't have the key is not to have a consecutive renewal on that 6 month lease.
I gotcha.
So you'll be okay there. But upon tenant turnover going into your winter period, which is more than 6 months, you're going to have to do it every time. So
every year.
Every year. Well, basically the way it works is the way the law reads is when the law goes into effect July 22nd. Property owners have 2 years to come into comply, basically. Yeah,
right.
Come into compliance. They have 2 years or upon tenant turnover, whichever comes first. After that, they have to re-inspect every 3 years or upon tenant turnover, whichever comes first. So basically, every time you have a tenant turnover and it's going to be more than a 6 month lease, you're going to have to get that inspection
done.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that process look like for the inspections then?
So as far as the inspections go, there's a few. So you either qualify for a visual inspection or a dust inspection, and that's based on a few different criteria. So first, can I go back? Let me go back 1 second because there's a few more exemptions I want to let you know about.
Okay.
So there's the one exemption on the 6 month lease. The next exemption is if it's certified as a lead-free dwelling. And we can get into that in a moment because I'm actually going to talk to you about that. There's a little more about that if that's okay with you.
Yeah, and I think you had said at one point in time also that this is only for single family and potentially 2-unit rentals, right? If someone has like a house and a cottage or a duplex. But this does not apply to anybody who is a commercial landlord.
No commercial, it's just residential.
Gotcha.
Now, with that being said, the 1 and 2 family, there's another exemption. That's basically it's what we call the multiple dwelling unit exemption. If a apartment complex, let's say, is registered with the DCA, which is the Department of Community Affairs, if they're registered with them as a multiple unit dwelling for 10 years or longer, and in their most current inspection, cyclical inspection, which is every 5 years by the state, if they have no lead violations, then they don't have to get an inspection done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, anybody can contact me if they have more questions about it.
That's great.
You'll have my
and we'll give all your information as well
yeah.
before we finish this up today. So did you want to go back to then the visual versus the dust?
Yeah, I could do that. So a visual inspection, that'll be necessary. It all depends on the community. So the community that dwelling is in, if there's less than 3% of children tested under the age of 6 that have a blood lead level greater than or equal to 5 micrograms per deciliter, it's a lot of numbers. Again, that's why you can contact me or email me.
We'll just let people talk to you about that.
So you're looking at 3%. Less than 3% or more than 3%, but please contact me if you have questions about it.
So if it's less than 3%, we can do the visual?
You can do just the visual.
And if it's more than 3%?
If it's more than 3%, we have to do the dust. Now, the dust sampling also comes with a visual. So one is contingent upon the other. So if it qualifies for the dust sampling, the first step in the process is a visual inspection. If it passes the visual inspection, which is all done the same time, the same day, if it passes the visual inspection, then I go ahead and I do my dust sampling.
Okay. Wow. When you had spoken to me last time too, you talked a little bit about the difference between lead-free and lead-safe certifications. Can you elaborate on those?
Sure. So lead-free certification is acquired through a lead risk assessor or a lead inspector. So they'll come in, they'll use an X-ray gun basically, and they'll look around the house or the dwelling for any lead in the building, and that includes lead pipes. If none of it exists, then they'll be given, if no lead hazards exist, then there will be given a lead-free certification on that property. And then if the homeowner has that, they don't ever have to worry about getting the lead dust inspections every 2 or 3 years like we talked about before.
Okay, well that's maybe a good thing for landlords to have. And so the lead safe certification?
The lead safe certification is, again, that's to do with the dust sampling. That's what's required by the state. And that's when an inspector will come in. We will do our inspection, visual or dust, whichever the community standards require, and then we will give a written report, and the samples will go to the lab, and they'll be compared to EPA clearance standards.
Okay, and is there a penalty for homeowners who fail to comply?
Yes, there is. So at first, a landlord that is not in compliance will be giving a 30-day notice, written notice. And again, keep in mind that this is going to be enforced by the local governing agencies. So it's going to be your boroughs, your townships, or so on and so forth. So,
do you know, I'm sorry, do you know if the boroughs are going to have someone specific for this, or are they just going to use their regular CO inspectors?
You know, we don't know. It's a new law. It's up for, interpretation. There's going to be some growing pains with it. People are going to have to get used to everything. So, that's why, I'm here today to try and give as much information as I can on it. So back to answer your question,
Fail
Diane.
to comply?
Yeah, 30 days written. If they don't comply within 30 days, they get that written notification. They have 30 days then to either comply, and by complying, they have to either get the dust testing done, or they have to start remediation efforts. If they go through the next 30 days and they don't start either, then they start getting fined up to $1,000 a week by that local governing agency.
Wow.
So it's a substantial amount of money,
And though that fine goes to the local, if the state doesn't fine them in addition, or
like I said, it's given by the local governing agency. So as far as where those funds go, that's kind of beyond me.
Right.
I know that you get fined $1,000
Wow.
a week. That's the big part.
So, in the Spring Lake area down to Jersey Shore, a lot of our landlords use their homes in the summertime, and then the winter comes and they put winter tenants in. So what should these homeowners do now to prepare for this, upcoming changes in these inspections?
That's a really good question, Diane, because being proactive is key. Landlords, the few things they should be looking for. They should be looking for basically during a visual inspection, we're going to be looking for anything bigger than a hairline crack or bigger than a pinhole. So if there's any deteriorating paint on the exterior or interior of the home, any holes in the walls, pay particular attention to windowsills or door jambs where you see a lot of what we call friction deterioration, and that's basically where the door jamb will rub on the jamb, or the door will rub on the jamb, and you see it. You see chalkiness, any dust in the windows, things like that. So they should be aware of that. They should be looking for that, and they should be cleaning it up and repainting or recaulking or spackling wherever they need to do.
Wow. I mean, that could get into a huge job.
It could.
For some of these landlords,
it could,
right? Because you said inside and out.
Sure. The visual inspection includes the exterior. And that's because the lead dust can break down into the soil, and pets and children can walk that inside the interior of the home. And that's why they're so worried about the exterior as well as the interior of a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really great information for these homeowners to know, because my thought was my people leave in September and we're already advertising and putting in winter tenants.
Yeah.
And once they're gone, they have to come back to the house and then start doing all this work. So landlords, you need to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
So just how does your company kind of fit in? Now we know what you do, the kind of home inspections you do. We know what the new laws are going to be regarding lead-based paint. So how do you guys kind of fit into this whole picture?
So basically the way I fit into it is I can do the lead dust sampling. So I can do the visual and I can do the lead dust sampling.
And there's not a lot of companies in the state right now that
there's
can do
not,
this, right?
There's not.
Right.
And then if you are, so I'm actually right now waiting for my certification to come back from the state for my lead risk assessor and my lead inspector, which is a little different than the lead dust. It's just more encompassing, and I can do more certifications. I'll be able to do the lead-free certifications with the X-ray guns, and that should be back within the next 2 months or so. I'm just waiting on it. So as far as of right now, I can do these lead dust inspections for your clients or my clients.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Why don't you give us the way to contact you right now? And we will also, by the way, put this in the notes below the video. So please remember to like and share, especially if you're a landlord. You need to contact Wayne. And how would we do that? You
can contact me at ryderhomeinspections.com. That's RYDER, homeinspections.com. My phone number is 732-995-5195. Awesome. And thanks again, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you taking the time, and we look forward to helping you with your real estate and your now lead-based paint inspection needs. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like more information about moving into Spring Lake, please click the subscribe button below. We post weekly informative information for buyers and sellers looking to move to town.